So, welcome everyone. And let's just take a moment to arrive. Um, just noticing our breath, our body, and this shared space together with each other. Mm. And maybe we all can take few deep breaths together with each other, co-regulating in each other's presence, and slowly arrive here in this space with all our energy, with all our presence. Let's just take maybe 2 or 3 deep breaths together, inhaling and exhaling, maybe with a sigh. Letting our nervous system, letting our bodies know that we are here in this space and we are slowly arriving. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so good evening, everyone, and such a warm welcome, heartfelt welcome to all of you. And we are really grateful that you all are here and that you have chosen to spend this time with us. Um, So I can see there are a few new people also here. So for those of you who are new to Living Consciously or who are new to this platform, I'll just give a little introduction. Maybe I'll just take a minute to talk about Living Consciously. So we are a not-for-profit organization and we work in the domain of emotional health, mental health, spirituality, and our intention is to create spaces where people can just slow down, feel present, and where they can just connect with themselves and with each other. And slowly on this journey, we are realizing that healing does not happen alone. It happens in relationship where we are seen, heard, held in safe and shared spaces. So, before we begin, I just want to say that if at any point during this session, during this conversation, this process, if any question arises for you, please feel free to drop it into the chat box. And in the end, we'll also have a dedicated Q&A. So hold on to anything that wants to be asked. And nothing is too small here. You can just ask whatever is arising. If there is anything where you could relate, listening to Sonali's experiences. Um, so, yeah, today we are very happy to be sharing this space with Sonali. Um, and as we explore about this very powerful upcoming 4-week program, vocal sound healing and inner child. Um, so, Um, yeah, maybe we can start rather than me giving an introduction. I can just allow Rupali, Sonali to just give her introduction to us, to all of us. So I was just reading your, the little introduction that you sent me, Rupali. I'm sorry, I keep pronouncing your name. I just had a session with somebody, Rupali. Yeah. So your work feels deeply lived in, I think, it's not just something that you can learn from books. Um, so could you share a little bit about your own journey, how your personal experience with blocked expression or a suppressed voice led you into this kind of work and like what opened the doorway for you? So if we can talk a little bit about that. Yeah, take your time. You're on mute. Oh, you cannot. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, here you are.
So first, I want to say thank you um, for having me here, Shalu, and for reaching out. Um, you'll know, if you join the workshop, you'll realize that all emotions are okay. And I'm so grateful. I feel very overwhelmed right now, Shalu, with emotions. So thank you. Um, I've I've experienced your space or the space that you have with living consciously as a very expansive space and a very healing space, and you carry that energy. So thank you for that. Um, and I think I've said it before. The first time I worked with Living Consciously, it felt really good. It felt nice to be with people who are from India rather than people from the United States and other parts of the world. So thank you for this. Um, I have questions from Shalu. You asked the first question, and I think you just asked this again. How did your own experience with
Yeah.
blocked expression lead you to this work? So um, I am the youngest girl. I'm a girl. I was a girl, and the youngest in my family. And because of that, I did not have a say in much, if anything. And if I did, it wasn't taken seriously. On top of that, I grew up in Ohio, which is in the United States. And this was in the 1970s, and there was a lot of racism. We were the only brown family for miles, for many years. And I went to school starting at the age of 6 without having spoken much English prior, because in the household we only spoke Kachi, which was our language. And people were violently racist in Ohio. So in the actual neighborhood that we were in, couldn't even go to school there. So my parents had to drive us before going to work about 30 miles away in order to drop us off at a school where it was a Christian Catholic school where at least the teachers and the nuns would protect us. The students were the same. And when I was at school, I didn't have a voice either. I felt shy. I was the only person who didn't speak English. And so I had years and years. And then I stuttered. Not only that, but I stuttered. I had a stuttering issue. Um, and so I was in speech classes, I was in special reading comprehension classes, I was in people wanted me to speak. I didn't have the confidence to speak. And slowly over time, I started speaking, but just to a group of people, not to my parents very much. And they wanted me to speak in Kachi. By that time, it was so broken that I felt very ashamed. And, my relatives would make fun of me for speaking half English, half Kachi. So I was just blocked. My whole expression was blocked. I would write a lot, but I wouldn't speak. And it was up until my 30s that I continued just suppressing my voice, and I would write. I got through college writing. I studied sociology, psychology, all of these things. I knew what was going on. I couldn't get through it. And then I met uh, Jakob and his partner, and they had this vocal sound healing workshop, and it was so liberating for me. When I took their workshop and went through their work, I found that I was able to completely feel my energy. And through that, I was able to very naturally speak. So there wasn't any force. There wasn't any like, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to heal and then we're going to use your voice. It was a very natural embodiment of this state of being because we all have a very powerful voice. Whether it's soft or not, it's very powerful. And when we tap into who we really are, then it happens very naturally that we speak. Some people's gifts lie in speaking, and other people's gifts lie in something else.
Yeah.
But for all humans, most all humans, our voice is a tool for something or the other. And we need that tool in order to express our fullest being and our purpose in some capacity or the other. And so it was really about coming into myself. And, you know, I do specialize in inner child journeying because those two things together, healing the inner child and healing the voice together, um, really helped me personally tap into my deepest inner soul, like helped me
Mm.
realize who I was. And I'm still realizing it. It's a lifelong journey. I'm far from where I want to be. If I were where I wanted to be, I wouldn't be on the planet anymore, right? Like I would have evolved into the light. So yeah, it's truly about, for me, inner child journeying and using the voice. And most of the people that I've worked with have had a similar experience where their voice was not heard, um, or they were in states of trauma as a child. And rather than being able to express outwards, they hid and internalized the fear, the anger, the sadness, and weren't able to express that to whoever was they were in front of at that moment. Um, would you like for me to continue,
Yeah,
Shalu, or do you have
yeah.
another?
Thank you so much. I think we all could relate to your story, Sonali. And yeah, and how some of us, like as you very rightly said, that, we all have this very powerful voice. And how, due to some, sometimes we go through life and during childhood, and how something happened, and then we subconsciously and unconsciously we suppress that voice, and which was maybe the only expression for us, as it's a powerful tool of expression, where we express, like, all our needs and what's going on, because that's how we humans are, like we communicate to each other verbally, although there are other forms of communication, but that's how we do communicate to each other. So thank you for sharing your journey. And um, I know that we all can, especially I can relate to your to your journey. And you are also like certified in inner alignment, inner child healing, and maybe a part of soul retrieval. So can you just talk a little bit about your journey as a healer? Um, you know, uh,
Sure.
yeah.
So my journey started about 5 years ago. Um, I was working with a few coaches. I was going through a very difficult time. I was going through a divorce. It was very sudden. I didn't realize that I was going to get divorced. I was in a very difficult situation in the family court system in the United States, which is extremely oppressive towards women and children. And using your voice in family court was dangerous. Actually, it could put us in danger. So I had to navigate that and figure out how to, through the judicial system, find ways to help myself. And since this is being recorded, I'm not going to go into too much detail there.
Mm.
So my voice in that time, rather than being expressed outwards, I was again in the position where I could not speak. And but when I was going through this, I was in my 40s, and the situation was so dire and so oppressive that while my voice was being suppressed, my drive and my knowing that something is terribly wrong here and I need to express that became even stronger.
Mm.
Um, but I didn't at that point understand, everything with vocal sound healing. I just knew that I needed to heal. And so I met my healer, Kim Beekman, who really, her and her team for 2 months, every single day was with me, and helped me through the journey and helped me realize the laws of the universe, what was happening with my chakras, what was happening with my energy, what was happening with source energy, that there's a power beyond myself that could help
Yeah.
me. All of these things started happening. And I just saw miracle, honestly, miracle after miracle after miracle, just from a transformation of my energy. And that was my introduction into the healing work. And then I went on and became certified in that same modality. And that involves taking care of the inner child
Mm.
because that's where, um, that's where we store our trauma. Our trauma within our body begins being stored as a child. And then
Yeah.
as we get older, we experience similar situations, we attract similar situations, and we feel comfortable in similar situations. So that trauma, that pain body, becomes
Mm.
bigger and bigger and bigger. And so around our energy field, and as we know, as I know it, my chakras, these trauma packets live
Mm.
and they accumulate more and more. And so, in order for that to change and to remove those, in order for me to actually live from my soul, we need to heal the core of that trauma packet, which is happens when we're
Yeah.
children.
Yeah.
Um, and I also have to say, with our lineage, people don't talk about this much, but I need to talk about it. Most of what we experience in life comes from our lineage and what our lineage has carried with it. So it's not just our childhood that
Yeah.
creates these pain bodies. They're there waiting
Mm.
to to be affirmed in this new life. And then they are affirmed, and then we reaffirm them. And who's going to break the cycle if it's not us?
Yeah.
Um, and so I went through a certification and learned the technique that helped me so much. And then I met vocal sound healers. That's when I became more embodied in the work because using the voice
Mm.
um, is just part of the body, right? Understanding the voice, healing the voice, and then
Mm.
movement comes from that. Like when we move the vibration in our body, then we're actually moving the body. And so when we talk, Westerners will talk about frequency and vibration. We're talking about that's a reference to the actual vibration through sound of our cells. So the higher the vibration, the faster the faster the cells are moving, or our atoms within the body are moving,
Yeah.
but in a coherent way.
Yeah.
Um, and sound is a reflection of the vibration in our body. And so when we understand that and tap into that, then we can work with sound as a tool of healing. Um, and when that happens, our whole body comes into coherence through movement.
Yeah.
And everyone's movement is different, based on who they are.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I hope that
Yeah.
answered your question.
Yeah. 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 Wow. Wow. It's very
Mhm.
powerful. And you touched something very important here also, Sonali, that a lot of actually, all of us, I feel that we carry in our body is not just only ours. Even in like, I do a lot of ancestral work, womb healing work, and I realize that, it comes from our lineage, ancestral experiences. And there is a whole, this part that 95% of junk DNA where we are carrying all of these imprints and still, these emotional cysts that are still alive in the body in the form of trauma. So, yeah, so it is, it's not only like, so there is, it's physical, emotional, energetic, and all of these layers where we need to work, to really get into the root of, all these old imprints that you are carrying.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And I remember in one of the workshop that um, I think that we organized in Living Consciously. I think you facilitated that, where we did this voice scan also, where we worked, yeah, like with understanding that each organ in the body has its own sound and vibration. And we didn't push the sound, we just allowed it to come from the organ gently. And when then sound is allowed to emerge, it created space for release and healing. This was that was actually the first time I saw, I felt, I realized that, oh, that every part of the body, every organ has its own sound.
Mhm.
uh
Mhm. Yeah.
yeah, and how body release that in a way that feels safe for the body also. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm
Yeah.
happy to hear that. It had such an effect on you. It did for me too. And I think, when people hear the idea that I'm a vocal sound healer, they think about singing and singing
Yeah.
perfectly. And that's not what this is about. It's simply about making sounds. And and sometimes that doesn't sound pretty, and that's
Mm.
okay. There's no right or wrong here. It's simply about awareness and healing. But I
Yeah.
do have to say that the more we do this work, the more our natural singing ability comes to the surface, and everyone is able to sing. It's just, and some people say, no, I can't sing. I'm tone deaf. I'm tone deaf. That's not true.
Mm.
Perhaps in the moment they're tone deaf. But once the muck is cleared, um, then there's a beautiful sound that everyone has um, within
Wow.
them. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. It's so powerful. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, there is this very beautiful aspect of this series, this program, this 4 week program, is how naturally, you know, we have like woven inner child healing into the processes. So, if you can just walk us through and throw some light on where does the inner child enter this work with voice and sound,
Yeah.
and why did you feel called to dedicate, like, the final 2 sessions that you've specifically dedicated, specifically offering the inner child love, safety, and validation? So, if you
Yeah.
can talk a little bit about that. Yeah.
Not thank you for talking about the lineage. And before I begin, did you say it was 95% of our DNA?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so, I keep hearing that, um, and I keep hearing that from one of my healers, and that's it. And so, I question it because
Mhm.
sometimes I feel like she's trying to say to me, don't put it on all on yourself,
Yeah.
and that statistic she's just pulled out of nowhere to make me feel
Yeah.
better.
Yeah.
But that's good to hear. I mean, it's good to hear from you too.
Yeah.
So your question was about inner child journeying. So yes, in what we can do for ourselves without a lineage clearing workshop, what we can do for ourselves in order to heal very deeply is inner child work. Um, so you know the reason most of us feel anxious or sad or disconnected, distracted, you know, ungrounded, is because we haven't been able to use our voice
Yeah.
in some capacity or the other. And so part of healing the voice is really healing the root of that, which happens when we're children, when we're told we should not speak, that girls should speak this way, boys should not be so loud, calm down, don't be so
Mm.
irritated, or why are you so upset?
Mm.
um, our voice when we were children and especially as teenagers were there as a way that we wanted to connect, and we weren't given those opportunities. Most people, unfortunately, weren't given that chance to connect because our voice wasn't seen as a tool of connection. It was seen as a, a way of questioning authority, and so it was knocked down, shut down, or it was
Mm.
irritating to hear someone's voice. So, you know, I would like people to be able to have the tools to really come into who they are as children and as soulful people, you know. And that's the work that I think for me has been the most powerful, because it was through ages, 0 through 17, 18 that I experienced a lot of suppression of my voice. And I so badly, especially around the age of 13, 12, 13, I so badly wanted to connect with adults, and I couldn't. I
Yeah.
didn't have that. And so that's why I do inner child work. Um, and the way that would you like to know, Shalu? Did you ask how it happens, or?
Yeah, I was, yeah, just wondering about that, we will be dedicating 2 sessions to inner child healing,
Yeah,
and why you like, yeah, connected the vocal sound, and of course it is making a lot of sense in the inner
yeah,
child part together. Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
part of when we do the healing, the inner child healing, everything is optional, by the way. And what you do is completely optional. There's no pressure to do things in a certain way.
Yeah.
But what I will introduce is the option of healing your inner child and using your voice in a new narrative. So it's really quantum healing. So we go back in time. This healing actually happens. We can change the quantum field so your childhood is different and you carry a new vibration after the healing is done. And your childhood then becomes something else. It doesn't become as oppressive or abusive as it was. And the foundation of these 4 weeks is the voice. And so, of course, uh, when you're connecting with your inner child during these healings, I'll give an option of using your voice in different situations in different ways. So it may be to, for example, if someone was, locked in their room by their parents for screaming, or for, dropping dishes or whatever it might be, um, there's an option of using the voice to express yourself as a child to your parents, or there could be the option of using your voice to bring in into the imagination, bring in your best friend, or bring in your sister, or bring in the divine or source energy to be with you during that time. So the option of using the voice is there, and some people aren't ready, and that's fine. Some people will gesture and say, "Okay, I need this entity, or I need my grandmother to be with me in my imaginary situation, in my imagination." In my situation as a child, or I need source energy to be with me. And rather than using my voice in the situation, I'm not ready to do that yet. I'm going to gesture to them and ask them to be with me. I'm going to actually, with my hands, bring them into the situation. So there's no pressure to use your voice. But I do introduce you to that kind of healing where your voice can be used at whatever point you're ready to do that for yourself.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds very powerful and a very, um, a different kind of approach towards inner child healing. Yeah. So, yeah. So even if you can just talk about the 4 week, the workshop series. Of course, we'll be learning practical techniques to balance our energy, supporting our nervous system, and we'll work with parts of us that never got what they needed. For instance, like right now, just you talked about the needs of the inner child and using sound and vocal expression to soothe, support, empower the inner child. Um, so, if anybody like wants to be a part of this journey, is there any prerequisite or anybody can, participate in this? And how do like people, like what is it that uh, they'll feel, after this? Of course, they'll have this toolbox, and of course, there'll be a shift in the energy. But if you can just walk us through this journey of 4 week for the participants, for the co-travelers who will be joining us.
Sure.
Mhm.
So I'm just going to write this down so I don't lose track of my thoughts. Um, So after the first session, usually people feel a little bit more confident because
Yeah,
there is a new tool of awareness, um, uh, and there will be a feeling of some release,
yeah,
emotional release after the first
yeah,
session.
yeah,
Uh, but the first session is mostly about bringing awareness of how to use your voice to understand yourself.
Yeah.
In that way, it's really cool, and I felt very confident because I was like, "Wow!" Like there's some. I'm a very airy person sometimes. When I'm imbalanced, I'm very airy, and I'm so disconnected to my body.
Yeah.
Um, and so after I finished my first session, I felt like, wow, I have this tool that will let me know how I'm feeling when I subconsciously repress my feelings.
Yeah.
Because I do that. That's just my nature. And I will repress my feelings. So I felt really good for two reasons. There was somewhat of a release, and I felt confident in being like, okay, subconscious thoughts can, they may exist, but it's not going to be very easy for them to exist anymore.
Yeah.
After the second session, that's where there's going to be a lot more um, release and a recalibration of the body to a more calm, more relaxed and a more alert state. So that's
Yeah.
when we start actually healing a little bit, um, healing the energy centers and blocked energy within the body, so your voice can really begin expressing
Yeah.
more of who you are.
Yeah.
So the second session, there'll be more of an emotional release, and then also a taste of the embodiment of your voice. So we'll do a little bit of movement. If you
Mm.
would like, you can join that movement, either out of your seat or in your seat, and the voice will or may carry your movement rather than, moving through expectations. It's moving
Mm.
through how do I feel when the energy is moving up my body and
Mm.
out through my mouth? How
Mm.
does my body feel when that happens?
Wow. Mm.
Because there's a block here for most of us.
Yeah.
And because of that block, and blocks in the other parts of our body energetically, we're not able to fully feel energy within the body. And so
Mm.
when the voice is able to release the blocked energy, is able to move it out of the body very naturally will begin moving. Very,
Yeah.
very naturally will want to move.
Mm.
And so we'll have a little bit of space for that.
Yeah.
Um, and then after the third session, um, with that's when we'll begin the inner child healing.
Mm.
Everyone has a different reaction to this, but ultimately there will be a significant change in the sensations in one part of your body.
Wow.
So, in the work that I do, our trauma packets manifest physically. Um, and so we'll work with the physical sensations in your body. And while I would love to say the whole body will feel good, it's one part of the body that you're going to feel some difference in. Um, And then in the fourth session, we'll go through the exercise again. So you have that with you so that it's more ingrained in what you are, and it'll be more about question, answer, and how to take this work into your daily life.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. 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 Very powerful. Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited for the series. And yeah, as I always, share this with people and even people who come here in our space, that we are the first participant, beneficiary of, the work that we are doing. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to this series. And I'll ask one last question, and then we can open the floor for any Q&A, reflections, or curiosities. Um, so, finally, if you could speak directly to someone, like people who will watch this recording later, who feel that, oh, my voice is stuck, uh, you know, suppressed, silenced, unheard, uh, is there anything that you want them to know? Anything that you that will inspire them that, this can be, released, this can be healed. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
If someone wants it to be healed, the voice and the energy and the pain that has led to not using
yeah,
the voice If that's what you want, it's absolutely possible to free yourself.
Yeah.
Absolutely possible. And the rate by which it happens is different for everyone.
Yeah.
But there's no question about it. If that's your intention for yourself, then it will happen. There's no doubt about it. So, um, there's magic in this modality. As with any modalities, there's magic within the modality itself, but then there's also the human mind and the will. If your will is to heal yourself and to speak or to express, then if that intention is put out there to the universe or to your higher beings or more, resourceful beings, then it will happen without a doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Powerful. Yeah. Yeah. This feels very soothing even to me. Yeah. So thank you so much, Sonali, for this insightful conversation. And I think now is the time we can open the floor for any questions, reflections, or if there is anything um, that maybe that you want to share. Um, yeah. So we're opening the floor for any questions, reflections.
Yeah, now you can unmute yourself, yes, and ask the
Yeah.
question.
Okay. Thank you, Pranav. Yeah. And if you don't feel like, unmuting yourself, you can just write it in the chat box.
Yeah.
Okay. We have a question from
Jen, you can unmute
Jen.
yourself and ask the
Yeah.
question. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah, I was just wondering, just two questions really. Which modality it is, and also when will the first session be? Thank you.
Um, Sorry, I couldn't see the speaker. Um, can you just let me know your name, please?
Was that me, Jen?
Jen?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can come on camera. So,
Okay,
yeah,
that's okay.
hi.
Come on
My hair's a
camera.
mop.
No, I didn't mean to imply come on camera. I just didn't know who to address. That's all. Um, you're welcome to come on camera, of course, but that wasn't my intention. Um,
That's
so,
okay.
so Jen, I think you had some logistical questions. Was that correct?
I was just wondering, when is the first like practice going to be, and which modality it is?
Yeah. So I think the first time we're meeting is February 21st,
Okay.
which is a Saturday.
Mm.
And we'll begin with vocal sound healing. So we'll begin by using your voice. I'll teach everyone how to use their voice to come into awareness of their emotions.
Oh, it's on a Saturday. What time? Because I work on Saturdays.
So, Shalu, you have a
It,
scheduled.
it's 9 a.m. EST.
Yeah.
In Indian time, it is 7:30 p.m. IST. I'll share the link in the chat, Jen, and you can check the details there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have just shared the link too. Yeah, and
Thank
all
you
the
very
sessions,
much.
yeah, and all the sessions will be recorded, and we'll also make a WhatsApp group where if in case you miss any session, you can go to the recording and you can share if there is anything that you feel like sharing, that comes after listening to the recording, you can share that in the group as well. Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank you.
much.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you,
Okay,
Jen.
bye.
Bye. Bye. Okay. Anybody else has any question? Okay, just Thank you, Ashu. Okay, so we'll give you 2 minutes if we have any question. Not, then we can.
Mm. If nobody has that, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Sonali, when you spoke about chakras and healing, I was very much interested in that. Can you just little bit elaborate on that? Like, how does that happen? And will this we also be exploring a bit of that in when we'll be doing voice exercises?
Um, so I'll talk about first, you asked about chakras and how that's involved. So, our trauma packets, uh, the trauma that we experience as children, um, is usually centered and uh, they grow around specific chakras. So, for
Mm,
example, if in our nature we're very willful, we have a lot of fire, uh, and that will was that motivation to speak and to do and to have a voice was suppressed. Then the chakra that's most affected for that person is that I'm doing my counting, one, two, the third chakra, the abdomen, the willpower is affected the most, and energetically that lies in our abdomen. And so, someone who, for example, has had that experience, um, they may, when they feel an urge to speak as an adult, they may feel butterflies in the stomach, a knot in the stomach. They may feel pain in the stomach or a movement like they want to vomit from the stomach, from the abdomen. And so energetically, there's a block there. There's a lack of coherence in the chakra. There's an imbalance there. And so when the inner child heals, then the will comes back. The will to speak without that negative sensation comes back. So when we talk about the trauma packets, the pain bodies, Eckhart Tolle calls it a pain body. We're talking about a packet of emotion, um, mental constructs, energy, and what happens to us physically when there's trauma. And so, um, through the study of chakras, we know that our will lies in our stomach. Um, we know that that's the character of that chakra. And we can talk to someone, we can, talk to someone who's gone through this and we can ask, where is your pain? Um, then when they say that it's in the stomach, then we know that they had a will that was suppressed. So through the ancient studies of the chakras, we, and, I feel very grateful that we have this, however many years of this study. It's a shortcut, to know. Through the study of the chakras, we know that there's a block in the third chakra. And we know the consequences of that block on someone's entire system, all the whole chakra system. When there's a block there, then the person is the lower chakras may be blocked as well, but there's no movement of the energy from the earth going up to the divine. And when we are able to connect with the divine from our crown, if there's a block in the abdomen, then the energy from the divine cannot move to the divinity of the earth. So then we become scattered. We are, for everyone, it manifests differently. But that connection isn't there, and our soul doesn't feel safe to live as it could live. Does that explain anything, Pranav? I feel like I just spoke.
No, it does. It does. Thank you. Thanks a lot. That was helpful.
Mm.
You had a second part of the question.
Yeah, it was around like will be doing voice exercises based on that.
Uh, we won't. No. Because we won't, but there'll be an unblocking of the chakras.
Mm,
So because it's difficult even for me to always locate the chakras and where it stops, where it ends.
mm,
So yeah.
yeah.
But we'll be talking about the different organs, perhaps, different body parts, where
Mm,
we hold the most pain, where we
mm,
usually hold the most pain, our feet, our knees, our hips, our stomach, our back, our upper back, our shoulders, our neck, our forehead, um, our head. So we'll explore the different parts of the body.
mhm. Thank you.
You're
Thanks a
welcome.
lot.
Mm. Okay. So do we have any other question? Okay, so if not, I think yeah, we can close the session here. And so again, thank you so much, Sonali, for this powerful offering, and thank you to everyone for being here and for showing up with such presence and openness. And we hope to see some of you in this journey. Um, yeah, and have good night. Mm, thank you. And if there is anything that Sonali you want to share before we close. Uh,
Yeah,
mm,
thank you, Shalu.
mm,
I just want to say thank you.
mm,
Shalu, thank you, Pranav. Thank you for everyone who is here. I feel like it's a true honor to be with people's trauma, and so thank you for giving me this chance to do that, be with people's trauma. So um, I also am wondering if we can end with just a little bit of release, Shalu, just three
yeah,
breaths.
yeah,
And
I
then,
would love.
yeah, and on the exhale, I think you may have done this at the beginning, just having a vocal exhale,
Mm,
um, and just to end the session.
mm,
Yeah?
mm,
Okay.
okay.
So if you can just get comfortable in your seat and just allow your hands and your arms to relax. We'll begin with one breath, and then we'll go to the three. So if you could just inhale and bring your shoulders to your ears, and exhale, bringing your shoulders down, your back. Good. And now coming into awareness of your belly. We'll do two more breaths and then go into the three breaths of relaxation. So tuning into the belly and inhaling. On the exhale, allowing your belly to relax. And inhaling. On the exhale, allowing your tailbone, your glutes, upper legs, and thighs to relax. And you can go at your own pace, of course. And inhaling. On the exhale, when you're ready, you can make it an audible exhale. Ah. And two more times, inhaling and exhaling. Ah. And last time. Ah.
Mm.
And just bringing your hands together in any way you'd like. And taking a moment for gratitude for anything in this very moment that you feel grateful for. Could be your physical body, could be your computer, living consciously, the chair that you're in, the shelter that you may have right now. 3 things in this moment. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
Thank you, Sonali.
Bye.
That was very relaxing. Yeah.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye, everyone.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon.